Okay, well, okay, well, we are so excited. We have Ambassador Diamond, Ashleigh Mayfield, newest millionaire inductee. Whoop whoop. I'm super excited for you guys to hear from her. So, Ash, there's some people on here that don't know you. You don't have to go full into your story, but maybe just take a little quick because of it works and we can jump right in.
Yeah, I like how Shay knows me too well. I will literally take like 17 and a half minutes just to tell you how I got Ruby. So, long story short, I've been in the business. Hi, first of all, you guys have a phenomenal leader. Can I just say that? Like, Cheyenne Knox, I went to high school with a girl named Brittany Brown, and it was just Brittany Brown. It's just Cheyenne Knox. Like, I just realized that today in the car. I was like, it's not Cheyenne. Who calls her Cheyenne? Who calls her? It's just Cheyenne Knox. And so, you guys have a phenomenal leader. I'm always humbled that, like, Cheyenne knows who I am and she thinks I'm cool. So, I've been in the business for 5.5 years. 5.5 years ago, my life looked a lot different. I was a full-time retail manager. My husband was a pastor on staff at a church. We had been in ministry for about 10 years, and we've always been square pegs and round holes. Where are those people at? Like, we've always been like, you're a little too much, you're a little too loud, you're a little too progressive, you're a little too whatever, right? And it wasn't until I found this opportunity on Instagram. I followed a total stranger, and she basically just showed me what I was missing out on. Drop how long it took for you to say yes, because it took me 18 months. Like, I didn't like a photo, I didn't comment, like, I didn't sneeze and accidentally double tap, like, H no, okay? And it literally, month 18, actually something transformed month 12 for me. I realized it had been a year that I was stalking her, and her whole life had changed. She bought the $1 million house on the lake, bought the car cash, said yes to the vacation, said whatever she wanted to her daughter, was the yes mom. And I was at the same job with the same pay, at the same car, in the same rental house with the same clothes. And I was like, what is going on? So month 12, my situation changed. I said yes to her 6 months later, and I've been here for 5.5 years. Sounds really cool. We paid off, my life changed at Double Diamond, hit that around month 18, paid off $63,801.99 in debt, which is amazing. You can absolutely transform your life at Double Diamond. Win Ambassador, my husband's presidential. I have a 2.0 that's triple diamond. And it all sounds really good, but we're here tonight because my journey hasn't been easy, because I've cried a lot. Because if you don't think I want to quit every other month, you are out of your gosh darn mind and you're lying to yourself, because we're all here tonight. And some of you might be here excited, and some of you might just be hanging on by a thread. And baby, I've been in both places. I'm just now coming out of a season where I was like, God, what did you do in my 2021? A lot of people, even my team and my leaders, kind of only knew me as like, once I went diamond and double, it was kind of just like Mayfield just gets better and better. And I say that respectfully and humbly, but that was just kind of it. And so last year, my story is I went from number 14 down to number 42. And I had a lot of things that, I lost my vision last year. I was showing up and going through the motions, but I was so trapped in my head. I was frustrated. I was, that tension. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It sucks. And there's leaders I had to remove. There's leaders that removed because they didn't want to be around me. And it impacted my business. And I can look back and I can have a pity party, or I came to conference saying, I'm all ears. And I showed up and said, okay, mother trucker, I'm all in. I'm giving this like 1 year of full throttle, right? Like, I'm going all in, and I am praying and believing that I'm going to do the work that I didn't do last year. And God's going to bring me in a year, a 2018, a 2019, where it was just, I went from double to ambassador in 12 months. Why not? Because you can. And it still works today. The problem is we get in our own way. And I was in my own way last year, and I didn't see it until, the last few months. And, but I'm here and I'm grateful. And I'm totally in. Like, you can't tell me otherwise.
I love this, and I'm excited for your transparency, and thank you for being vulnerable, because I know a lot of times people look up to people and they're like, oh, they're perfect, they're unicorns, they don't have issues, they don't have problems, they don't have, nothing, and then you hear that and it's almost like, oh, okay, okay, I'm normal. So I'm excited to have these conversations with you. And so something that you were talking about is just kind of those expectations that you're setting for your organization right now of, we have 4-in-1, we have these incredible bonuses that so many people are making ridiculous amounts of money with. But yet some of us are, this is leaders, so we want you to be real. These people are all Ruby and above. And so we're here just to have that conversation. But some of us are like, okay, I'll only get my 4-in-1 and get 150. That's great. But we need to talk about the bar that we're setting as leadership for our teams.
Absolutely. You guys, listen, at best, your team is going to do 50% of what you do. And, you know, what was really cool when corporate introduced the 4-1, and this is something I've kind of said over the last few months with my own team when it kind of clicked, like it was really cool because they lowered the bar. But how many of us lowered the bar in our work ethic? How many of you, be dead honest, how many of you enrolled more when it was 6 and 3? Where like the OGs at? How many of you enrolled more? Like it was nothing for you to enroll 3 DTs. It was nothing for you to double it, do 4, 5, 6, whatever, because you knew you needed so much. So you put in so much effort. And now the company lowered the bar, and they lowered the bar for us financially. But how many of us lowered our work ethic? How many of us slowed down? How many of us were like, oh, it's so simple. And it's not that you're lazy and it's not that you can't, it's that you're so freaking uninspired. You're so uninspired because you're like, oh, it's just for and a friend. And but some of you are saying that, but you can't even get for and a friend. It's so simple for you. You can't even do the bare minimum. And what's crazy is for and a friend is not for you. For and a friend is for the brand new distributor to come in, for us to actually validate, hey, I know how to help you make $500 in 20 seconds. I'm going to help you get 4 customers in one distributor. Then we're going to pause. We're going to help that one distributor turn around and do the same thing. When you do your first 4 and 4 customers and a friend, you're going to get 150. When you help your friend do their 4 and a friend, you're going to get 350. Does that make sense? That's not for you. That's for the new distributor. So number one, if you're not even making $500 a month, your booty hole is probably in your throat right now. If you're on this Zoom, if you are hearing the replay and you're not making $500 a month, I love you, but something's not effective. It's not that you suck. It's not that you can't, and it's not that you won't, and it's not that you're a loser. There's not, I don't care what rank you are. I don't care how long you've been in. Like, you're sitting on the sidelines though. And it's time to have, because you want to know what's really funny is like, I have no doubt Shay's the same way. Cheyenne, it's not Shay, it's Cheyenne Knox. We're in our reports like 5 times a day. Like I know who's doing the 4-1. Like when I come and say, hey, how's your month going? Oh, trust, I already know. I already listen. I say I don't know, heifer, I be knowing. You can't far sniffing it. Okay. Like that's just how we roll around here because that's what high achievers do. High achievers are looking at the analytics of what's going on within their organization. They're not just leading, they're managing. Those are both really good words. I think sometimes in leadership, we're like, oh, management, so bad. No, you need to have management within your organization. It's not just move forward, move forward, move forward. It's move forward and maintain, move forward and maintain. It's a process, right? But if you're not even making $500, we've got something wrong. There's something that's not effective. Right? And that's simply just because that's the minimum. For some of you, you literally need like a higher goal. You need something that's going to get you out of the hole. And so really being able to, you know, call a spade, really being able to say, hey, if you want your team to do 4-1, number one, if you're not even getting $500 in bonuses a month, like you're probably struggling to help your team do it because now you're not able to lead effectively because you're not doing what you need to do with a level of urgency. Because I've got no doubt if like you're just getting $500 in bonuses a month, you're probably doing it in the last 72 hours of the month. Right? 25th hits, things start making sense. You're like, oh my God, everyone else is getting shouted out. I don't want my name left out. So then you like come across a little desperate. You start doing things that you normally wouldn't do, or you just be calling a family favor in, which is like really not how we want to run a business. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like that's not sustainable, right? And so we have to get to the point of leadership where we start saying what it is. And listen, I might be the most lamest, wrongest, idioticest leadership guru out there, but I firmly believe, God, this is the hill that I will die on. A what is more effective than a why? How many of you know why your life needs to change and it's still not like you know why you don't need to be living check to check. You know why your debt needs to be paid off. You know why you know your kids need a better family car. You know why you need to live in a better zip code. Like a lot of us know why our life needs to change. We see it, we hear it, but we more often than not, like we don't say a what. How many of you know what it is that you want, but like you're so afraid to say it based on judgment or fear or disappointment or something to that effect, right? We need to start saying what it is that we want. No, what do you want? I need a $4,000 bonus every freaking month. What do you want? I want the Dominican Republic. What do you want? I want diamond and I want $10,000. But so many of us are afraid to say what it is that we want for this fear of disappointment. And so we stay on this bottom level of our life all the time. We're on this merry-go-round of doing the minimum because it's like, ooh, I know I want to shatter the ceiling, but I don't want to get uncomfortable. Maybe it's time for us to get out of our comfort zone and like wade in the water a little bit. Maybe it's time for us to get out of our comfort zone and be like, no, you know what, mother trucker, I'm going for an 8.2 next month. No, guess what? I'm gonna go for an 8.3 next month because I can. Or I'm gonna go for an 8.6 because the compensation plan says I can do 8.6. You make $2,400 bonuses with 8 customers and 6 DTs. Some of y'all ain't ready. Go ahead and just wear your diaper. Some of y'all 6 months ago were signing 6 and 3, no problem. And right now, if you just did 8 and wasn't getting you any bonuses. But if you would just raise the bar on your work ethic, on your mindset, on what you're worthy of, and you started enrolling 8 customers and 6 DTs, that is $2,400 in bonuses a month. How much better would your situation be? Because I'm telling you right now, how many of you are not diamond and you want to go diamond? Drop a yes in the chat right now. And it's okay. I don't care where you're at. Or you want to get your diamond back. That's okay. Let's talk about it. Okay. Okay. I'm just telling you right now, 4 and a friend sounds cute. You're not getting unstuck with one distributor a month. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Like, it's not happening. Okay. Sounds really cute from stage, right? Oh, just 4 and a friend every single month. Okay. And what happens when the one friend you sign a month blocks you, ghosts you, decides after a week they want to cancel? How many of you've ever had that happen? Let me be the first to raise my hand, right? Okay. You're not getting unstuck with the minimum. The minimum isn't for you. So why are you struggling with it? The minimum is for the brand new distributor that needs hope. The minimum 4 and a friend is for, so if you're not on here doing more than the minimum, what are you saying to the people you recruit? And I don't care how much you want to flex your Gucci belt, baby. Listen, I saw a TikTok that was like, your rotting tooth in the back of your mouth watching you buy that Gucci belt. And it was just like the little eyes of like, it was so funny. Anyways, but like, look, I don't care how much you want to flex your Gucci belt. I got some too. You want to flex your bag. You want to flex your car. Baby, you're not even doing 4 and a friend. Let's be honest with ourselves tonight. I think honesty is like one of like the greatest like values that you can hold is taking extreme ownership, having an honest conversation with yourself, right? You need help. What you're doing is not effective. You're on autopilot, babe. You're on autopilot. You're going through all the motions. You're doing all the tasks. You're checking all the boxes, but there's no power behind it. I want to be the mother truck and Energizer bunny. I want to be like, right? Like some of you have no stamina. You can't even stay in the game long enough because you don't got that energy, right? You got to like elevate yourself. You got to like, sometimes it's, listen, I have a whole podcast on this. It's not just about raising the bar. Let's talk about raising the foundation. It's not just about saying, I want $5,000 a month. It's saying, ho, I'm no longer going back to less than 2,000. It's not just saying, I want diamond. It's saying my paycheck will never fall below the rank of ruby. It's not saying I want triple. It's like, I'm no long gone are the days when I will see diamond or below in my E-suite. It's not just saying you want $10,000 a month. It's saying, God, I'm no longer available for less than 5,000 a month. You shift, you raise the foundation as you go. And when you don't shift your mindset and you don't raise the foundation and you got a ruby mindset and you gonna go to double, and when it falls apart, where do you go right back to? Where your mindset, where your blueprint is. So it makes more sense. You go like this, you raise the foundation as you go. It just makes sense, but you're never going to get there doing the minimum. You're not going to get the goals you want. You're not going to get the bonuses you want. I'm telling you, you're not. Like, I'm telling you in love, not because the system is flawed and broken. 4 and a friend works in utopia, in perfection. I get 4 in 1, they turn around and duplicate. Boom. Okay, Is that really going to happen 11 times for you to get $800 to go to the Dominican? No, you're probably going to have someone that quits, or their booty holes in their throat and they have a holy crap moment, and they're going to freak out and they're going to block you and they're going to quit after a week. And these things happen. You have to leave margin for error. But some of you were writing so late last minute in a hurry, there ain't no margin for error. Like, what are, and we call ourselves leaders. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. We have to set better expectations for ourselves. If we want to call our team higher, we can't be calling no one higher unless we're calling ourselves higher.
Wow, that is what the people needed to hear. And I love it. I love these full circle moments when I get affirmed for something that I said. They're like, oh, Shay said it. That ain't right. Ashley said it. That's true. It must be fact, okay? Because we, as leaders, are always bringing in people. We're always enrolling because we have those expectations of ourselves. And then 4-in-1 came out and people were like, okay, I'm just going to do 4-in-1. I'm like, no, this is for everyone else. This is for our teams, because they literally brought this out when they said, hey, your paycheck is only getting paid off of 6% of your organization because that's the only people that are enrolling. They said, how can we get everyone enrolling something? And they said 4-in-1. And then all of the top enrollers said, bet, I'll just do 4-in-1. Good. No, that is not what we want. Not at all. And I'm really glad that you said that. Okay, so I'm really excited to hear you talk about this because you mentioned your voice message and I want to have this conversation. So you were talking about keeping your funnel full. And I want to hear kind of what your perspective is on that. And just because let's talk about it.
Yeah, so coincidentally, I got a funnel right here. I always like to bring this out when I say funnel, because I'll never forget. I had a leader, God bless her. She's no longer with me. She is amazing. Her name was Angelica, and I'll never forget. I talked about a funnel for like 2 years before she was like, "What's a funnel?" And I was like, "Oh, God bless you." But she's young. She's like, a little bit older than Shy and Knox, so it's okay. But this is a funnel, and so maybe you've heard of it, and it's crazy because what you have control over, a lot of us want to force the bottom. So the idea of a funnel, maybe you've seen it with car oil or like cooking, but the more you put in, a little bit comes out of the bottom, okay? And so what's really crazy is like this has different like levels. It folds down, it's like I feel like I'm on like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, like buy yours now. You can get it in purple and black too. But what's really cool about this is it really comes down to like ownership and control. How many of you value control? Drop a me in the chat. Like, oh, I be loving control. Okay. Okay. Oh, I love control. Okay, it's like really hard to give up, especially when like the Lord is calling you. Be like, Jesus, I don't know about that one. I mean, I never called Jesus Heffa, but the day is short. So here's the deal. If you like control, this is a really good thing, and you can absolutely rock this business because the part that you have control, a lot of people want to get down here, and this is when we start getting desperate. Okay, so let's think of this funnel, and these are just like 4 made up. Everybody just said, everyone type, she made it up in the chat, okay? Because someone could be like, oh my God, Mayfield said the funnel isn't labeled this. I didn't say that. I'm just making this up off the top of my head. And it's really good that I went live in my team page about it, so I can talk about this right now. So like the first cluster is getting attention. The second cluster would be like curiosity. The third cluster would be objections. And then the bottom is like they're ready to sign. Okay. And so how many of you want to sign more people? Well, it would make sense that we're focusing on what we can control, which is the attention, right? How do you get attention? That's by doing TikToks. That's by doing reels. It's whatever's going to work for you. I will not tell you how to get the horse to cross the finish line. I don't care if you ride in a side saddle, bareback, you standing on your horse. I don't care how you work the business. If you go to a top earners page, there will be an ambassador diamond that throws up it works all on their Facebook, and it's working for them. And then you'll come to other ambassador diamonds and you have no idea what the freak they're doing. You're like, okay, I know they're doing something, but like lots of people, when they join me, they're like, okay, it took me, well, I'm a little bit more bold now, and let this be known. Let this be known. For over a year, I've only worked my business on Facebook. I do not work my business on Instagram. I do not post anything about It Works for over a year, and on TikTok. So how many of you are using more than one platform? And we still can't do phone a friend. We're going to circle back to that in a second. So I don't care how, I'm not gonna tell you how to ride the horse. I just want your horse to cross the finish line every freaking month. And if your horse isn't getting at least $500 in bonuses, like you are the problem, not your horse. The horse works fine. you not working the horse. Okay. And so what you can control, however you like to get attention, maybe you blow up with host to post, maybe it's video, maybe it's referrals, maybe it's face to face. Like, I don't give a hot fart what it is. Okay. But your job, what you can control is the amount of attention you get. And what's really crazy is as you start increasing that attention, you're going to build up the next layer, which is curiosity. Okay. You're going to get people curious. Hey, what's that thing that you're talking about? Hey, what's that coffee you're always drinking? Hey, you're always talking about making money. Like, how do you travel all the time? How did you, earn this trip to the Dominican? Like, what's this $2,500 success bonus about, right? You're going to create curiosity. Then as people start getting curious, you're having more and more conversations. Then it's objection handling. Hey, I want to join, but I don't get paid yet. Hey, let me talk to my spouse. Hey, I don't think I have the money. I don't think I can do this. I don't have enough time, right? We all have these objections. And then eventually you're going to get people that say yes. So what's crazy is sometimes, how many of you guys have ever thought of this business as a numbers game? Like you're like, or like maybe you've said that. You're like, oh, it's a numbers game. You just talk to more people. Like we say that from stage a lot. Like, it's just a numbers game. Okay, that is bull crap. I'm just gonna tell you, that is bull crap. I get so sick of people just saying, oh, just talk to more people. No, if your script sucks, stop talking to more people. Like, stop. Okay. So I will never tell you that there's a right or wrong way to work the business. Okay. Never going to tell you how to ride your horse. But what I will tell you is there is a difference between effective and non-effective. And if you have a non-effective way that you're working the business, talking to 50 more people a day, that's not a badge of honor. Okay. And so it's really important that we're gauging our effectiveness as we're filling our funnel. Meaning, if you have people like you're getting a lot of attention, you're having a lot. How many of you have ever been like, oh my God, I talked to like 25 people and they all opened up my message and ghosted me? Oh my gosh, I talked to 15 people and they all said no. Oh my gosh, I sent out 50 messages today. Rawr! Like, we feel really cool saying that. And it's like, but is it effective? I don't know. Right. And so it's really important if you're like, oh, I'm getting all this attention, all this attention, all this attention, but you don't have people curious, is your attention ability effective? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. If you have people that are curious, but they're not going towards the objection, and yes, you're going to have people that get attention and they immediately say yes. I'm not talking about y'all heifers. Okay. Like, you're awesome. Some of us took 18 months to get in the business. Okay. But if you don't have people going from curiosity to objection, are your scripts effective? Are your systems effective? Are you like, oh my God, you got to join my team? And they're like, whoa, kind of like my energy is right now, like tone it down, Mayfield. So this is the funnel. And it's just important as you are filling your funnel with the things that you can control, that you're gauging your effectiveness throughout here. You're getting a lot of attention by that post, but is it really creating curiosity? And I'm just going to like say something. This is no offense to anyone that uses this. It's totally fine if you want to use it. You want to know what gets a lot of attention? I will tell you what gets a lot of attention. Hey, is there anyone that's 18 years old or older that's looking for part-time work? I'm so slammed at my job and I need help. That's going to get you a lot of attention. And then it's when you tell people what it is, you sound deceptive. Like, I'm sorry. Okay. That's my opinion. This is actually my friend's opinion. If it's working for you, you do you, boo boo. I'm not going to tell you how to ride your horse. Right. So there's a lot of things that will get us attention, but is it effective? And so like, then you get discouraged, right? So we make posts like that are kind of like a little deceptive. That's like back in the day when I was like a Ruby, they were like, oh, all we do is wear cute clothes and hand out coupon cards. And you make $500. How, where? On Vegas Strip? Are you kidding me? Where? Like, that is not what we do, okay? But we do those things. Why? Because it's quick and it gets attention, right? It's quick and it gets attention. Okay. Oh my God, Rachel, I didn't know you were on here. Sorry, babe. No offense if that's what you do. No offense, the other top leader, but like, seriously, like, I mean, tell me I'm wrong. I'm totally okay to being wrong right now. It gets a lot of attention. So you're gonna post that. You're gonna get 34 comments, and then you're gonna message me. You're like, oh my God, 34 people. I just can't work this business. No, it's that you're not effective. We have to be effective. Okay. And I'm not trying to condemn anybody. I'm so sorry. I'm having like PTSD of being so intense. But here's the deal. Like, tonight we're having a higher level conversation because it's not just a numbers game. We've got to stop saying that. If what you're doing isn't working for 8 to 10 people, you legit should pause. If every 8 to, and I'm telling you, I'm like preaching this till I'm blue in the face with my team. If every 8 to 10 people, they're not moving further in your funnel, you need to pivot. You want to know the power of words? The power of sales and the power of words, it's one freaking word that can shift and change everything. 3 years ago, I went from asking, what do you think about it? When I close, I went from asking, what do you think about it? 3 years ago, I started saying, do you feel good about this? Immediately more sales. Because if you don't think tweaking one word in your freaking script will change the trajectory of your sales, you're out of your gosh darn mind and you don't know the power of words. Right? And so, we have to, as we're filling our funnel, we have to really gauge our effectiveness. And so it's really easy. Oh, I sent 50 messages a day. Check. How many of us are living on autopilot? How many of us get everything done? Oh, you busy, you not productive, okay? Like, we're gonna just talk tonight, okay? Like, you real busy, and you be bragging. Someone be like, I sent 20 messages, and you be the first one to be like, I sent 50, right? It's always those people. It's always those people that have to one up. Y'all know those people? Like, every team has that one person that has to one up everybody when they get in the chat. Like, I sent a customer. I sent 5. Okay, but you're 5 or 30 BV and my one is like 300 BV. You guys, sometimes we get caught up in the numbers. Don't get caught up in the numbers, y'all. Okay, the person that signed 20 customers is real cute until the leader runs the office, back office, and it's 30 BV each. Okay, so don't be getting caught up and don't be getting jealous because your 4 customers at 100 BV could be more powerful than 20 customers at 30. And I don't even know that math. That could be more than 400. I don't know. But anyways, I've really just kind of rabbit trailed. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But this is a funnel, and if you talk to 8 to 10 people and you're not moving people, if people don't go from attention to curious and curious to objection and objection to like selling every 8 to 10 people, like, I would highly encourage you to reevaluate what it is that you're doing. That is the end of that X segment.
You freaking kill me. But guys, I want to say this. Growth is uncomfortable. And so when you hear those things, it's like me and Rachel, literally, we did a coffee chat one time and everyone was like, oh, use this post. It's going to be so good. I was like, ugh, it looks so tacky. I don't want to do it. Everyone's like, no, do it. I got so many comments. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go Black Diamond. Like, it's about to be so good. Nobody.
Nobody. I'm telling you, it looks really cool. Like, you look really cool. And then until everyone realizes that it's not a secretarial job and that you
Right.
flim-flam them and now they all hate you.
Exactly. And so I totally get that. And I think that if we spent more time slowing down and being intentional and authentic in the messages that we're using, what we're doing, like, over the past couple of weeks, and I'm glad you said this because it's something I was going to talk about a lot to my team too, is scripts are great, and the ones like our potential distributor conversation, like laying out the money, how much it is to join, like, those are good. Those are solid. Everybody needs that information. But the in between, y'all, I have sent more voice messages in the past 2 weeks than I think I ever have in my life, and they're short. I'm like, girl, I feel you. That was the same way, but let me show you this, or let me talk about this. Like, just inputting them in places where it's almost like, is this annoying? Like, I could probably type this out. It's super short, but it's changed everything because it's me. And so it's something as simple as that, and just Ashleigh finding that, whatever. I have some of my new distributors. For example, 2 days ago, one of my girls was like, oh, I don't actually use emojis, and I definitely don't call people girl or sister. So can I change that? And I was like, yes, that's what I want. I want you to speak how you would speak. And sometimes we need that reminder as a leader, and not even a new distributor, is that disconnect of those posts really probably aren't that great. They're desperation
I'm
almost.
sorry. I know. I just like put the nail in the coffin on that one. I'm a little embarrassed. I didn't realize.
No, we needed to hear it, and we were talking about it. Me and Rachel were like, okay, because it just feels uncomfortable. But it's like, if we took the time to put our own twist on something else that was more authentic, we would feel better about it, and we would probably get better results knowing that it's not some secretary looking job, because people are disappointed. They're like, oh, I thought you wanted me to like make your thank you cards or something. And I'm like, no, but you can make your own by enrolling customers on your website and making commission. And you try to desperately turn it around, and I want to
And
talk
then
to
you
you
come
really,
off desperate. Like, yeah, that's
yeah, and you don't ever want that, because then your mindset starts shifting and it's all out of desperation, and you find yourself refreshing messages, refreshing Instagram, like begging for one message, and it's like, Sis, you could have an abundantly overflowing inbox if you just changed some of the things that you're doing. So freaking good. Okay, I want to talk about this part for a second. I'm going to throw you for a loop maybe because we didn't talk about this. But speaking of desperation, okay, when you were in this like valley of emotions last year and like trying to find your footing and saying, what the heck is going on? Two parts. Did you realize where you were at? Like, did you realize in the moment, like it was kind of self inflicted or the work that you weren't doing? Or was this something you realized after? Like, looking back, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what was happening. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that are like, gosh, I'm just struggling. I'm struggling with where I am. I'm struggling with wanting to get to that next level, but I just don't know what it is. And I feel like you've had a lot of realizations outside of it. But how can you coach somebody that's maybe in it to realize kind of those things?
So I 100% knew that I was very frustrated with where I was at in the company. I was very frustrated with where my team was. I was very frustrated with a lot of things, guys. Like, let's just call it. How many of you guys have ever been frustrated with corporate? How many of you have been frustrated? Back in the day, I was like, if we don't make the starter kit $99, like, stop discounting it, okay? And we became the discount company. That's exactly what we became. And I was very frustrated because I knew the potential of what I had, and I 100% know the potential of this company. Like, you will never see me leave and go to another company. I would gladly walk away from the industry. Like, I don't want to be at the bottom again. Okay. Like, I'm not good. Listen, I'm not saying the bot, listen, you start at the bottom because there's a lot of people pretending to be at the top. I didn't say that. But okay, like I need to be at the top. Okay. I like being on top. Oh, did I just say that? I didn't mean like that. Anyways, Mayfield after 9 get a little crazy. Sorry. But what am I trying to say? I knew where I was. I think what I did though is I didn't pause long enough. I allowed my frustration to blind my ability to really take ownership. Um, and I, honest to God, was in survival mode. Okay, oh, stop it, Rachel. I'm a blush now. I was just in survival mode last year, and I think sometimes when you get into survival mode, you don't even want that ding-a-ling, okay? But sometimes you can sometimes when you get in survival mode, Shay blushing, she got a new man, she knows what's up. When you get into survival mode, sometimes it's really, how many of you guys realize like it's hard to give to your team when you're like struggling, when you feel empty and you're like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be the leader, I'm supposed to have it all together, and I have no idea. And there's a difference between transparency and vulnerability. Like sometimes you share with your team what you're going through when you're walking through it, and then sometimes you share with your team what you walked through after you conquered it. How many of y'all know there's a difference there, baby? Okay. And I was in a season where, a handful of people knew. But I think looking back, what I would say is I got away from a lot of things that I was doing that got me to where I was. And success can really hurt you one of two ways. You either stop doing the things that got you there, or you only do the things that got you there, right? And you need to pivot. And so for me, I was in a position where I stopped doing the things that got me to where I was. I stopped spending time with people. I stopped doing all the extra Zooms and meetings because years before I was giving so much of my time. And then I was at a point where I was so frustrated and drained and burnt out and was like, I can barely, like, I'm treading water. How the heck? So I don't like regret doing anything because I'm here today because I did not quit last year. And when I tell you I was ready to quit, like if I probably had a comparable salary outside of this or even in my brand that I launched, I probably would have. Like dead honest with you. I was frustrated. Now that the 4-1 really brought me back to life. Like it, because I really finally was like, I can help my people win because there's such a gap between where I'm at and where like my next leader is, right? And but the 4-1 got announced, and then it was like this like 3-week span. Oh my gosh, like so many leaders left during this 3-week span. Like I had to block people, then people didn't want to be a part. And it was like, God, what are you doing? And you can sit here and say, like, oh, God's cleaning it up and God's come on down. Like whatever. Like it hurts and it's hard. And I'm like, I've never had to go through this. And like when I reached up and reached out to people, they were like, oh, you're year 5 and you're just now going through that. Congrats. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know who to go to. I don't know how to navigate this, but I'm just going to do the best I can. And that's what I did. I did the best that I could, but I got away from giving people my time. I got away from casting vision last year. And you guys, those are like the two things that I always say, like, drive me. It's the decision, it's the vision, and it's the responsibility. And it's not that I wasn't doing any of those. I was doing the bare minimum that I could for my own mental and emotional health. And so, if you're there, I think it's so important that there's different levels and there's different, like, we can't even compare apples to oranges because you have no idea what I walked through with some of these leaders. But I'm throwing my funnel. But what I will say is that, you know, you can make a decision. The two things that you need that I firmly believe are desire and decision. And no one can do that for you. You have to have a desire. And I'm so grateful that I just like have a grit about me. Like, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going out in the valley. When you see Mayfield go out, I'm going out on a mountaintop. I'm be like, mother trucker, I crossed every mountain, I climbed every bridge, I rode every horse, praise the Lord, and I'm gone. Like, I'm not going out when it's like, oh well, she had block leaders and leaders left and it fell apart and she went from 14 to 42. Over my dead body. I got way too much like confidence and pride, arrogance, whatever it is that you want to call it. Like, I'm not going out like that. I'm going out on a high, okay? And so what I would say to you, if you're there, you've got to find a reason to hold on. And there's a reason you're on the Zoom right now, but you got to find a new what. And I'll go back to that. I firmly believe a what can be more powerful than a why. And I might be the only mother trucking person on the planet that will say that, but there's so many of us that just will not say what we want. And maybe you don't know what it is that you want. I will never forget, it was March of 2018. We were 30 days out from paying out debt. And if you've ever heard me talk about tie and dye, we were rounding third and coming home on that. And I was flying home from Chicago. I had a new girl who was killing it. She like, I don't even know, like double promoted emerald to, or executive to emerald. And I was like, oh my God, I just need to go be in her presence. We threw a couple parties up there and I was on the plane home and Jason's like, don't listen to nothing. Don't watch nothing. Sit down and figure out what you want next. We're paying off all of our debt next month. We were just like 30 days out from going totally debt free. And he's like, what do you want? And I was like, I have no idea what to say, what I want. Like I've never been exposed to it. Like, my parents got divorced in 5th grade and I grew up in a single wide trailer and my mom did work 3 jobs just to put food on the table. Like, she did the best she could and she was a terrible mom, but she did the best she could. And like, once you deal with your demons, you realize your parents were just human. They were just doing the best they could. And we tell our kids that now, like, we're not trying to be the best parents for you. Like, my husband says it all the time, like, I did better than my dad and you'll do better for your kids. Like, that's all we can ask of you because we're 2 flawed humans. But like, I didn't know how to dream. Like, I sat at the popular table, I sat at the cheerleading table, but I wasn't good enough to make the cheerleading squad. And all my friends lived in like $250,000 houses and I'm over here in a double wide trailer. And I didn't know how to dream. I didn't know how to. So I sat on that airplane that day and I wrote out all the things that I hated. I wrote out all the things I didn't like. And then I flipped it and I was like, I don't like that me and my husband have to share a bathroom. Okay. When we built a house, which coincidentally, that's the only thing in this house that we're building right now that we don't have, is like, I want us to have our own bathrooms. And I don't like that our yard sucks. Like, where we were renting at in Florida, endangered, like state endangered tortoises lived in our backyard and you can't touch them because they're state endangered and whatever. It's the turtles world. You just live there. And, but like my kids couldn't run around outside in the backyard because if they walk 3 foot, they're like, or 3 inches and their ankle would break. Right. And so I was like, I want a house that has a nice yard. And like this house we're building right now, it's like HOA required to have like a bougie yard. And I love it, right? So, but I took all the things because I knew, how many of you guys know what to say what you don't like, right? And so if you're in the season where you're like down in the slump, I mean, yes, you need to take massive action because action's what's going to pull you out. You got to take above and beyond. It's got to be above and beyond 4 and 1. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't pull a tree stump out of the ground with just like going 10 miles an hour in a car. No, you're like revving that mother trucking engine. Okay, this sounds like some kind of Cheyenne Knox out in the woods with a bonfire, pulling up tree stumps with a beer in her hand or something. But that's like how I pictured it in my head. But like, that's how you pull the tree stump up. You get that chain around the stump and you, right? So you have to go above and beyond with the action, yes. But you have to like Get excited about a goal. What do you want? What's that next thing? And guess what? Just because you used to be doesn't mean you have to be. Just because you used to be a tough leader doesn't mean you have to be a tough leader. Just because you used to be someone that would sign DTs and write them off, they're just going to quit. No, like you don't have to do that anymore. I don't know what you and Rachel are talking about right now, but stop. Okay, you guys are laughing at me. It's fine.
It's so
But
funny because I got in trouble in high school because I was in the woods in my brand new Ugg boots breaking the law. And you just explained this whole story and it was just so funny. You just had a moment.
so you know, that sounds like something you would do though. I was like, that sounds like a Shay moment, like in the backwoods in Texas, like, yeah, yeah. She like thinks she's drunk on a Smirnoff or something, you know, that 3% alcohol gets her every time. Anyways, it's like how we went to high school together, right? But you know, like you just have to have a new, I don't know, I'm all over the place right now, clearly. But you got to take massive action. But you also, if you're just in this place, I think there's so much power in having an honest conversation. There's so much power in not suffering in silence. There's so much power in like saying that you need help and saying you don't have it. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I asked you how your day is going. How I be knowing. I run the reports. Shay runs the reports. Jones runs the reports. Like we know who's killing it and who's not. When you're like, oh, I got this, you don't got nothing because you're not even doing a 4-1. And so I just think it's time we start advocating for ourselves. And usually that's the antithesis when we're in a funk. We're trying to like move further away, like we're slow to respond to our leader. We don't show up all the time. We don't ask questions like we used to. Like we all know the patterns of what it's like when someone starts to bench themselves or starts to quit, right? But I think just advocating on your behalf, and that's what I had to do. I had to like I choose to show up different. And when I went to conference this year, y'all, I'm not talking like this year, like January 1st. I'm talking like 3 weeks ago. I made a decision. I'm going with an empty mind or an open mindset. I make a decision that I'm going to receive whatever it is that God has. And I'm not going to hold my future hostage based on the past. I'm not going to bring my frustration from the past. I'm not going to bring leaders quitting. I'm not going to bring none of this nonsense there. Because you know what? When you choose to heal, you can tell the story different. And I can tell the story different today of what happened in my business last year because I choose to leave that in 2021. And I don't know how. You want to know the crazy thing about Jesus? You don't have to know how. You just have to be willing. And if you go look at the story of David, David was not qualified. People wrote him out and he said, "What's the prize? What's the prize?" And they were saying, "Oh, you get to take one of King Saul's wives. You know, your family doesn't have to pay taxes." He's going around, "What's the prize? What's the prize for chopping off Goliath's head? What do I got to do?" He said, "I'm willing." You want to know why? Because he knew his capacity. That's all he said. He said, "I'm willing." And he said it so many times, it got to the king. And the king says, "Bring me this man." Here there are men who are trained, men who are soldiers. You call yourself a warrior, but what's on the inside? Anyone can say that. All these men said it and then they shuddered in fear. Right? Goliath over there taunting them. Duh. This little punk kid who's a shepherd just said, "I'm willing. I'm willing. I'll do it." Right? There's power in having a willingness. I don't need to know how God's going to do it because I'll drive myself crazy figuring out the how. How's my paycheck going to increase? How are leaders going to raise up? How is, oh my God, my business fell so far. How's it going to get? I'll drive myself crazy thinking about that right now. But do you want to know what my responsibility is? That attention, fresh, leading, vision, desire, willingness, giving people my time, going back to the basics. That's my responsibility. Because you know what? We serve in the midnight hour God, and we serve a suddenly God. We serve a God that says, "But suddenly." You know what I mean? I don't need to know how I'm gonna get back in top 25. I don't need to know how I'm gonna get back in top 20. It's gonna happen because I got my sign up, right? And so my responsibility in all of this is to say, what's in my hand? And so if you're in the valley right now, Mother Trucker, you better put your hand out and say, what's in your hand? So your whole team walked away, but you got one. What's in your hand? Okay, your whole team walked away. Your paycheck went from 5 figures to 3 figures. Your Facebook Live still work? Cool. Let's start tomorrow. What's in your hand? Right? Because that's all, because I got faith. Like if I could even figure out how, I still wouldn't be operating in the faith that God has because he can do more. Right? And so I'm not sitting here because so many of us, when we're trying to make our comeback, We try to figure out how, and then we hold the future hostage based on the past and like, oh, well, if it can't happen this way, I don't know how it's supposed to happen. And we only see the tip of our nose. I'm not consumed with the how right now. In fact, if I do, I'm like, Mira, she's like, just put your head down. Just 4-1, 4-1, multiple 4-1s, get multiple 4,000s. Let's go. And let me talk about the power of a sideline sister. Let me talk about a power of my best friend who will slide in my DMs and say, hey, do you need best friend Mira, or do you need Mira that's about to cuss you out? Some of y'all, like, we got to start, like, in your friendships with your sidelines, you need to start calling people higher. This is not calling people out. This is calling people higher. Nah, sis, where I'm going this year, you can't sit at my table, because all you do is talk about the past. All you do is talk about the lack and the lost. Well, gone are those days, because I'm making a decision to focus forward and to use what's in my hand, and I'm gonna protect me. Right? And some of us, we got to start calling people higher. You want to be around me? Okay, you get 30 seconds. Like, I love you, you get 30 seconds, but solutions, baby, solutions here. Okay? Because I'm not on the merry-go-round and I'm not buying a ticket to your circus. Like, I'm not, right? Like, I'm crazy on myself. I don't need your crazy too. And I could be negative on myself. I don't need your negativity too. And so if you're there, use one of those things. Hopefully that helped you.
Yes. This was so good. I mean, gosh, I didn't know where this was going to go, and this went the direction
I didn't either. That's the funny thing. Like, you never really know.
No, and I think those are the best Zooms. And we're going to end this early because I think that was exactly what we needed to end it on. We're thankful. Everybody say thank you to Ash. Yeah.
I love you guys.
That was really good. We love you. Thank you. I can't wait to see you in top 20 again because I know it's just around the corner.
Heck
Bye,
yeah,
friend. Good night, y'all.